All right.
Oh, there you go. So, countdown's kicked off. Welcome to the Marketing Your Practice Show. Tony and Angus here, Addio Media. It is great to be with you on this Thursday. And we're talking all about batching.
Yeah. So one of the most common questions that we get from you guys, one of the most common challenges that we have is in around, look, I love this idea of making videos. But I've got a life, I've got a practice to run, I've got staff to train, I've got all these things to do, and how on earth am I going to get the time to do this? And it's a tricky thing because there's no doubt about it. Taking the time to make some videos, it will take you time. But as Tony said beforehand, if you don't do it, then the person down the road is going to do it. Not that I want this to be all fear-based, but if you think about this, what would it be worth to you time-wise if you had a predictable funnel, that one that you could keep yourself engaged with your existing patients? We forget about that often. The best kind of people for you to have coming in are the people that have already seen you. The videos that I make in my chiropractic practice are just constantly reminding our existing patients why it's a good idea for them to keep on coming in for their adjustments. And as our retention seems to go up and up and up, the need for less new patients, or the need for new patients, tends to go down as well. But the interesting thing is if we compare to websites, and we're talking about websites a little bit beforehand, if there's a website that someone's looking for a chiropractor, it has a video on there, and there's a website of a practice that doesn't have a video on there, then there's going to be almost a 200% increase in people making an appointment with the one with the video on it. So once you start to get a process for how you can produce videos as effortlessly as possible, and it really does, it becomes effortless. It's not a fuss for us anymore, in the same way that there are things that you've been doing for a while that are just not an issue for you anymore. It becomes part of what allows you to do your job really great. I often think this, it's a pain in the backside that I have to put petrol in my car each and every week, but if I don't do it, I really don't like the result. So having a really cool, heart-centered way for you to be reaching out to your community, for you to be adding value to your existing patients, is going to pay off in the long term. So we get it. We want you guys looking after your patients. That's job number one there. And what we want to talk about particularly today is how do we show you through a system to minimize the fuss when it comes to having a good quality systemized community outreach using video as well. So first of all, Tony, let's jump into this concept of, I guess, the myth of multitasking in terms of how that kind of fits into it. And what's the wrong way of doing video?
Well, absolutely. The myth of multitasking. We can't do lots of things at once. We can't let me go back a step and go, the wrong way to do video is to go, get into the office and go, oh, let's crank out a video. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh, let's set everything up. Let's do the video, and you pack everything down and then do all that sort of stuff. It's very, very inefficient. Most of our timing is done on the setup and getting everything ready, getting lights happening, the camera ready, the sound organised, knowing what we're going to talk, all that stuff. It just takes time. If we can cut that process down and do it once for 4, 6, 8, 10 videos, that's going to be a whole lot more efficient. And so taking that out of it is always going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So some preparation and planning up front. If you've never done this, it's a great way to kind of teach this concept of, the myth of multitasking. I forget which book I read this in, but they take you through a little process that says, if you're to write the myth of multitasking, and each time you put, so T, the first letter, write the number 1, H, the number 2, E, as in spelling out the myth of multitasking there too. Time how long it takes you. This time, then go the myth of multitasking. I think it's 27 letters. I counted, I did it before, it's 18 letters through there as well. When we block book our time, things happen way more quickly. So step number 1 is, if you're going to cut down the time needed for you to be making your videos, is first of all, we're going to talk about this concept of batching. We want to batch our video content creation, we want to batch our filming, and we want to batch our editing. And ideally, you might want to batch that all in together as well. So let's start with batch our content creation. So you want to have a theme for your video. So I'm going to suggest that we think about our time in kind of 90-day blocks, quarter year focus from there. So having a theme about your videos, and so some ideas for some themes, they could be for you. Hey, listen, we're going to really focus on sciatica. We're going to focus on immune system. We're going to focus on headaches. We're going to focus on, detoxifying your house, whatever it is. That's our theme for the next 90 days. And inside of that, if we're going gold class here, and we'll teach gold class, and you can kind of pare it back there. You go, look, I want 12 pieces of content in around sciatica, headaches, those kind of things. Now, remember, these pieces of content could be anywhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes. So this is not about you giving everything that you know about that content, but it's a little tidbit that we're sharing. And when you start to plan this in advance, then one of the things that start to happen is you'll get a bit of a story arc through it, and you can start to, in the same way as we started this off, when we're talking about content creation, and if you want more information on coming up with content ideas, watch the 2 shows that we've done over the last 2 weeks. We've talked about where to come up with content videos about you, videos about them. And in the same way of what I did just now, I directed you back to more content from Tony and I. You want to be able, in the nicest way, I often kind of think about you hugging your audience there too, and taking them in your embrace and having them go from video to video to video to video of yours. We've all been caught in that kind of vortex of content before, and that's exactly what you want your audience doing as well. So sit down with your staff, sit down together and go, right, what are all the cool pieces of information, of content? If I had somebody sitting down with me, headaches, who wanted to boost or their immune system, who wanted to know about, paleo eating, whatever it is, what are all the bits of information? And how can I link them all together in a logical kind of journey all the way through them? And then once you've got your pieces of content, what you want to do is you want to start to think about, do I need props for this? Many of the videos might be just a you to camera, but if you're showing somebody some stretches, okay, great, I've got to have somebody else there. These are all the things that'll start to cut down the time. Do I need some equipment around for me to show this? Am I going to do a little cooking class? Those kind of things that we could be kind of looking at as well. So step number 1 for you to be super efficient as you're moving forwards is all about batching your content, thinking about it. What kind of props will I need? Will I need people involved with it as well? And how do I get a story arc so that I can be wrapping these people in a web of your awesomeness as well? So
that's right. It's really important. That story arc is really important because we don't want these to be random. These are jumping from one place to the next place. Hopefully through our Facebook Lives here, we've had the story arc for you guys to get making better videos, or at least making videos. And so this story arc is really important. So to your target audience, it's got to make sense as to why each week you're coming up with these new topics to take them on their health journey. So putting in some time to really get this right will set you up for the next pieces of the process that we'll go through now.
Yeah, great. So if you're just joining us now, a big welcome. Jump on into the chat next to us. Let us know where you're from. Tony and I are hoping to get a few more Aussies on the line here. We've got our North American friends that are trumping us. I think it's just still Mick here that's as far as Aussie. So say hi to us. Today we're all talking about how we can decrease some of the time stress that goes along with creating videos. We're talking about before that your number 1 job is to take damn good care of your patients, get brilliant results, help people get well. And one of the things that we need to be doing along with that too is reaching out to our community. Particularly with us as natural healthcare practitioners, I reckon one of the reasons that most of us get into, and I wonder if it's the same for you, in fact, it might be interesting to hear at the side there too, is that we felt like we had a message to share, not just a thing to do with our hands, but when you get passionate about it, there's a message, there's a counterintuitive idea of where we think that health comes from. And one way that we can share that is one-on-one with our patients on the table as they come in to see us, and that's a great way. But nowadays, with this world that we live in, a way more effective and efficient ways, you can now share this one-to-many in a way that's been very difficult, if not impossible, beforehand. Through our social media posts, through our websites, and video is a really strong tool about that too. So we're talking about how do we create videos and how do we do it easily? We're introducing you to this concept of batching that Tony and I do. One of the other things along with that batching, because Tony and I are having a day tomorrow morning, we're meeting to plan out our next 90 days of content there. But because I'll have different ideas that will come up to me all the time. So I have in my phone just a little note section that I have where, that's an idea. And so when I come to our meeting tomorrow morning, I'll have a bunch of ideas there already, and we'll brainstorm and we'll start to work with those. So have somewhere with you where you can collate and keep your ideas together. So when you come to content creation, you might already have 6, 8, 10 ideas already there for you.
I think, going back to that next step, what you need to do is get to know your audience really well. And there's your content. You should know it. It should come very, very quickly if you know your audience well.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's critical.
So batch our content, and then step number 2.
Well, you batch the content. Then we want to batch the filming.
Yes.
So we've come up with these great ideas. You've sat down with your team. You've generated 12 topics, and you've then also broken them down into some dot points under each thing. Then you're going to set everything up in the location that you're going to be filming these videos. Do that once, and then we're going to batch the filming. And so there's some simple really tips and tools that you can do to batch that and make it really effective. When we batch our videos, we're literally rolling in from one to the other because we've got the dot points. We know what we're talking about. We know the topic. We know the story arc. We know what the last one was that we can refer back to. Check out last week because we just did it 2 minutes ago. So it's really simple to be referring back to previous content. And you can crank out 12 videos. You can do it in an hour. You can do it in 2 hours. It doesn't take that long to actually do it, rolling one to the other.
So given that for most of you, I'm going to be recommending that you be filming your videos in your practice in that environment there that brings a level of authority to it. So when, if you're a chiropractor, there's an adjusting table in the background, there's that level of that clinical feel that brings a level of authority. It's one of Cialdini's influence principles that we can kind of ride on the back of that as well. And that's where we shoot most of our videos. It's all of them for the practice for life chiropractic when I shoot them.
It also makes sense, doesn't it?
Makes sense.
It makes sense for someone watching a video that Dr. Angus is talking about something to do with headaches, that it's in your environment.
Yeah.
And it's where you feel comfortable delivering that information. Don't go to somewhere that it doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. But it requires a moment of setup. I need to move the tables. I put a light there because it's got a dark area where I shoot mine too. And lighting is, you don't need fancy studio lights, but you need some lights. A desk light just to shine on there as well. And if I was setting that light up, if I'm shooting a 5-minute video, for me to set up and I want to just shoot most of them with my phone here, but I want to get that set on a tripod because having a film that's shot, that shaky video sucks. It really decreases the professional feel of your video. So I'm going to set up my camera from there also. We have some microphones. Now, the microphones are not a necessity, but as you start to get in making some videos more and you want to increase the professional feel, then you want to get some microphones. That takes a little bit of time. And if I was going to shoot one 5-minute video, there would be 10 minutes in setup, probably 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes of setup and breakdown for a 5-minute video. It just doesn't make sense. Set it up once. Shoot multiple videos. Now, ideally, what we're suggesting here, and Tony talked about 12 videos before, and if you've just joined us, the reason we're talking about 12 videos is that's one video a week for 90 days, for 12 weeks, okay? Your quarter as well. If you're getting out one new piece of content to your audience each week, then you're really going to be very quickly building authority and expertise, celebrity. These are all the things, what you really need to be achieving with your videos, in essence, to take a step to the side, is that you want to be building authority and expertise and celebrity. You want more people knowing, liking, and trusting you. And the more regular you are with their content, our good friend Burf talks about the mere exposure, MERE, which is just a psychological principle that says the more we're exposed to somebody, the more somebody is seeing you, the more likely they are to like you as well. So 12 pieces of content, batch all your filming all together there. So again, try not to be making videos one at a time. And if you're not up for doing 12 at a time, then do 2, 3, 4 at a time.
Do a month's worth.
Yeah, that would be a great place to be sitting down. Once you get great at this, literally one day per month, so one day per quarter is all you need to be spending on your content creation from there also. So step number 3, we've batched our content, we've batched our filming as well. And then step number 3 there is all about batching our editing. So If you're joining us now, hey, look who's just come on.
Who's here?
He must have known we were talking about him too. So if you're wanting somebody to, again, we just love the work that Chris Burfield does. If you're wanting somebody else to be, helping you out with your marketing, your Facebook stuff there too, be sure to kind of check out the stuff that Burf does. He's just one of the most heart-centered, clever, fun-loving guys. Tony and I got the chance to meet Chris last year.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So another great guy from there too. So he's jumping in there. So if you're just joining us, as Chris is now, we're talking all about how can you get more done in less time. So video is such a powerful tool for you to be reaching more people, having bigger impact, for you to have a predictable flow of new patients, for you to be getting the right quality new patients. That's what it's about too. We want you to be finding the people who can afford your care and want what you have to offer. That's the key. It's no good if we have a bunch of people coming in to see us and they're not. See, our videos can position us in any way we want them to position us. That we can position us to say, hey, listen, I'm not your quick fix doctor. I want to work with you regularly throughout life to help you achieve a level of health that you never thought was possible. I don't believe in covering up the symptoms. I believe in helping you change all areas. So once you start to tell that story, that'll let your audience know about who you are. But you could equally tell the other story. Say, listen, I'm not one of those practitioners who's going to have you coming back again and again and again and again. I find it the first time and I fix it. Now, I don't want to get into any philosophical battles and so that, but that's how you tell your audience what they can expect from you as well, how we can get the people in that want what you have to offer. And the cool thing is there's an audience for everybody there.
It's never been such a great time for us to express and share our passion for what we do than now and through video. And I think that we need to keep that in our minds as far as we're batching. Doesn't matter what the theme is, what the content is, how often you're doing the videos, how long the video. That doesn't matter. It's an opportunity for you to share your passion, your love of what you do, your love of helping humanity in whatever way that is, whatever shape or form. But let them know and get it out there. So the next one is some strategies on when we are filming. How do we do it? What are some tips and tools? What do we do?
So when we are actually filming the videos? Well, I guess too, we talked about this kind of story arc kind of running through things beforehand, but you might want to do some things like have a couple of changes of shirts or T-shirts as well. So that can add the feel that if somebody's watching video after video after video after video, then, it looks like that you've changed. It looks like it's on a different day. You could subtly change the angle of the camera. So, different pop plan in the background that subtly changes things. I don't know that we need to change our environment all that much.
No, I don't think so.
But at its easiest,
change your shirt.
Take a couple of changes of shirts in from there too. If you look back through our previous videos, you'll notice that Tony does his hair slightly different every time. That gives that perception that things have changed. Yeah. So doing those little differences there, that makes a difference there too.
Sometimes I put, what's the stuff that girls put on their face to stop the shine, whatever it's called, foundation. Sometimes I put foundation just to stop the shine. But you don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. So my head's constantly shiny there too. So a couple of little things for you to think about. Can I make some subtle changes to the environment, but change your clothes over. These are things that will help give the perception that there is some little variance and stuff in there as well. I'm not suggesting that you need 12 different shirts, but you might. That's your style and that kind of works for you there.
What it helps, I think, also is when people see your video, we're visual creatures. We see a video on Facebook in the feed, and if you're wearing the same thing each time, it's very easy for someone to think, oh, that's the same video.
But
if you've got a different shirt on, then that instantly says to us, oh, that's different. Yeah. I'll have a look.
Good. So, and because it matches, because along with difference, you also want same.
Yeah.
And so same is the reason I want you to keep your environment pretty much the same. The reason why when Tony and I are doing our Facebook Lives now, we have this background is that when you're flicking through and you see a video from us, you go, oh, that's a Tony and Angus video. And if you're so inclined and you like watching our content, you watch it. If it's changing too much all the time there too, I want you to subconsciously know that this is a video from Tony and I want your community to know as well. Go, you know what, Angus always shoots his videos here. So Chris, whose videos, he does lots of them, he does lots of them in the car. So there's a level of sameness and predictability that I want in there. There's a real match and balance between predictability and sameness, certainty and uncertainty that we want. as we move forwards there too. So changing shirts is a great idea, but see if you can keep that environment the same. By all means, chuck in some things differently from time to time, but that same environment will really work for you as we're moving forward. So the final part of really this batching process that we're working through too is batching your editing. Shooting the video is relatively simple. Us being, so coming up with content, us then going to that phase of filming them. Just a tip, please don't complicate your videos in that when you're on video, all that you're doing is that you're talking to your patients. In fact, you should be focusing on one patient and you're just giving them the same information that you would be giving them if they were sitting in front of you at the adjustment room, the consultation room. That's really what you're doing. So you're sharing information. So if you can talk with people, you can make videos. That's it. A little bit of training is what it might take for you. But when it comes to editing, it's a new skill. And even for me and Tony that do and have done lots of editing over time, it takes me a bit of time to get used to it again. Go, oh, where's those buttons? Where's the hotkeys? How does that all work? And the first video that I edit might take me 5 or 10 minutes. But once I know where everything is and I've got my hotkeys and I know what's going on, editing video 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, if you're going to be doing it yourself, will get faster and faster and faster. We just know what's going on and we can edit them. We've got all the material there. We've got it open. We'll need our logos and our intro bumpers. And if you're wondering about the structure of a video, I think it was a couple of weeks ago we talked about the 5-part video template, which is really a structure for a magnetic video. We want to have our logos in there. You're just cutting and pasting because all the content is there. So we want to be batching our editing. So, these 3 parts, batching our content, batching our filming, batching our editing, you might do those all in one day. You could get all that kind of organised like that too, or you might take 2 hours out for each bit and break them down over multiple days depending on how you're going. But having them all together while there's a theme, because when I'm editing, if I've filmed those videos during the day or when you film them during the day, what you're going to remember is, this needs to go after that. Here's some timing with that. I want to direct that video back so we can kind of keep on jumping, back and forwards as well. So we just had another Aussie pop in.
Another Aussie.
We're getting there. So, Rose, if you can get all your Noosa friends, we're severely kind of lacking in Aussies being on here at the moment. We've got a North American takeover happening. So more Aussies coming on. So, Tone, what else would you add to kind of editing? You're an editing whiz.
Look, I think a great way to batch editing is make sure you've at least got one folder with all the goodies in it.
Yeah.
You've got your music bed that you use, you've got your logo, you've got your animated logo, you've got your titles, you've got your whatever it is. Just have one thing. So you just pull up your editing suite, whatever you're editing it in, and then you've got your folder, and it's just easy drag and drop, not trying to find stuff everywhere. That's an easy way to do it, or a time-saving thing to do. But it is just about doing it, And I guess on that, you could outsource it.
Yeah.
If that's something that you think, look, I'm sick of doing it, or don't want to do it, whatever. If you want to pay someone to do it, hey, you can do that as well.
You could outsource it. You might be surprised. One of the chiropractors who we do some coaching with has a staff member, a CA at the front desk who's been through film school. So it's like that. She comes into the shifts and edits the videos. So, you might have kids that can do it. And again, you can kind of look online and find somebody and teach them to do this kind of work. It's not complicated though. Editing is not rocket science. Cutting and pasting the stuff together, it doesn't take long when you're doing a 5-minute video. When you start to get better at working your way through that 5-part video script, introduction, intro bumper, content, call to action, and then an outro bumper. When you know how all that is working, your editing is need to be great. And as a reminder too, gang, you're not making Hollywood Academy Award winning movies. This is not what we need. A level of authenticity about your videos is really great. I think in some ways, in having your videos be too polished, it can almost have the reverse effect. Particularly when we talk about this, I want to get to know you. The more personality I get to see in there, sometimes Tony and I stumble on videos. I clean less of those stumbles up now than I ever have beforehand because it's me. It's how that kind of works as well. So
I think another great point is when you're batching your filming, you'll get so good at it that you'll do one takes. And so your editing is much less.
That'll help.
And you'll know that to wait 2 seconds before you start talking, or if you stumble, stay in the same position and then keep, there's lots of tricks that you'll pick up as you do it more and more and more. And if you have 4, 5, 6 videos in a row, then you're going to be like anything, practice and practice and practice.
Yeah. So in essence, gang, the way for you to be able to be producing more videos that'll have greater reach out into community with way less stress is for you to be batching your content. And I would think that if you started with, at least 4 videos at a time, but heck, man, if you're going to do 4, then just do 12. Spend that 1 or 2 days. You might get it done in one day to begin with. Set a big day aside there too. The morning you're going to sit down and decide what's our theme for the next 90 days. Having a theme, a group of people that you're focusing on will help your marketing penetrate into the market much, much more. When you're talking about a specific topic for a length of time, it'll really help you build authority, expertise, even celebrity. This is what we want, knowing, liking, and trusting as well. So sit down, get your content out. Once you start to get on a bit of a roll and you come up with one piece of content, the next piece, it gets very quickly as it move on in terms of, this would make sense, this would make sense. Don't try and teach too much in each video. Lots of our videos are 3-minute videos. Some of them might be 30 to 60-second videos. And occasionally you might want to throw in a longer video that might be like a live like we are now, which is a little bit more unscripted anyway. We have outlines in behind us here. We've got a big whiteboard that we're looking at to kind of keep us on track as well with our preparation. Then batch all your filming. Get your equipment out at once, get yourself organised, start filming, have a few different changes of shirts so you can change to add a little bit of change in it. That great point too, Tony, that you said before is that we don't want our videos all looking the same because people might think, I've seen that thumbnail beforehand. I've already watched, Tony do that video in the green t-shirt. So having some difference inside there as well. And then finally they want to batch the
editing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to it. Just spend some time, as you say, a day, and you'll be making videos like no one else is, and that's what we want. So, guys, get and do it. From here, you've got a system to batch it. You've got a system to pump out at least 90 days worth of videos. Get to it. Get to work. It's nothing. Nothing disappoints us more than people who've got the information and then make videos. The opportunity is right now. It's never been better. It's never been easier, and you need to be making video.
So having a consistent outreach with videos will help you improve your retention. Tony and I, we need to be reminded that the greatest impact that making videos from my practice has is not in the new patients it brings in, and it does bring in new patients, and it's great. Is it constantly keeping me in the forefront of my patients' mind, the existing patients, and reminding them of why it's a good idea for us to continue to be in a relationship. They're the ones. It's way more effort to get new patients than it is to keep existing ones. So the reason you want to be making videos is 1, to improve your retention, 2, for you to attract high quality people, because through your videos you get to tell people who you want to come in. The interesting thing is when people have watched 3 or 4 of your videos, when they come and meet you for the first time, it'll be like an internal referral. They'll know you in the same way. If I said, hey, Tony, you've got to go and see my doctor. She's amazing. She's the best chiropractor I've seen. She's this, and that. If Tony's watched 3 or 4 videos about Lauren, it's like he knows her anyway. When he goes in the door, there's already that relationship. There's already some rapport there. So it'll help build your retention. It'll help you with your reach more people in your community and reach more of the right people as well. So if you've got any questions at all about batching, how to go about it, those kind of things, then ask them down beneath here. We'll continue to answer these questions well after the live has happened as well. So any final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, final thought is this. If you're still thinking, time, it takes time to make these videos, even with batching it, just do a calculation. Looking at that new patient, even if we got one new patient from one video, what's a new patient worth? I know in this office here it's over $2,000. Is it worth you spending half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours for a new patient?
Yeah, it's a good
dollar sums.
It's a good way to think of it too. And, and I guess there's another question we can talk about, kind of productivity and time management another time. Like, what are you too busy doing? If you're too busy because your practice is overflowing with new patients and looking after the people, then you probably don't need to be doing this anyway. But maybe if that's the case, it's more than about your practice. It's about reaching out into your community and finding people who need your help. And then maybe it's about employing more practitioners and all that kind of stuff. But that's a conversation for another side of things here as well. So for those of you that have joined us live, then as always, heartfelt, we love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for all that you do. Keep saving lives. As always, buddy, it's always great to hang out with you, and we'll see if we can rally more of our Aussie troops for next time as well. Thanks for popping in, saying hi. We'd appreciate if you would share this message out there with anyone that you thought they might benefit from this message here as well. So, love you lots, gang.
See you next week.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.